So lack of proper equipment for technicians. Do they have the right saws, tables, where are parts located and so forth back there? But proper equipment's a big deal for a lot of shops, and you can't buy them everything that they want. On the other hand, they gotta have the essentials to get the jobs done. Lack of salesmanship by advisors, huge. Every store I go into, without exception, I see service advisors that are just order takers. All they're doing is what the customer brought that unit in for. That is it. Unless a technician tells them something else. Are we really doing our customer a good service by doing that? We're not. It's like that doctor again. What if I go into the doctor with a sore throat? Does the doctor look just at my sore throat? No. Before he ever even sees me, they weigh me, they take my blood pressure, they check all these other things, and if they see something that's out of whack, for instance, my wife went in to see a doctor a month or two ago, and the nurse who was checking her out told her how high her blood pressure was, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're like on heart attack level." And my wife, "Yeah, well, I ran out of my pills, and I haven't been taking any, and I just kind of forgot." But you've got to tell your customer. So advisors must present service menus, good quality service menus to every customer every time. And there's an important factor in this. They must use features and benefits to build value. You don't want customers to have the perception that, gosh, Ken, every time I come in here, you guys are just trying to sell me something. I hear that complaint in auto stores daily. Daily, I hear that complaint from customers. Every time I bring my car in for an oil change, you guys are trying to sell me all this other stuff. Has that ever happened to anybody in here on your own personal cars? Yeah, probably just about everybody one time or another. Well, you know what? If that service advisor would have done a better job of explaining why it needs it and what's in it for you. If you do it now, it'll actually save you money down the road because it's going to cost more to fix it later or whatever the reason is. So salesmanship by advisors, we must use features and benefits to build value. If we do that, let's then let the customer decide. When they decide, they're always right, as well as when they decide they're happy and they spend more money, they come back to your store. Timely parts delivery to the techs, I've touched on that already. Lack of an inspection process. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a firm believer in doing some sort of a complimentary inspection on that trailer, no charge. And I don't pay my techs to do it. It should be an inspection that's going to be short and sweet. Usually about 10 to 15 minutes is all I want that technician to spend in time in doing that inspection. Depending on what type of unit it is, if it's maybe a pop-up or something, it might only have 5 items that we check. If it's a towable, maybe it might be 7 or 11 items that we check. If it's a coach, there might be even more. But establish what you want your techs to do, put it in writing, and request that they do it on every unit every time. It's not optional. It's not optional. Got to do an inspection. And why do we do that? You think the customers might like that? What do you think? Yeah. And here's how. I'm going to tell them. Remember my 3 steps in writing it up? My second step is I tell them that we're going to do an inspection on their unit. And if we find anything that's wrong on it, I'll be giving you a call to let you know what it is. I told them I was going to do it. So now I'm doing something for free. They see value in that. But you know what's in it for me? I sell extra work off of it. Plus, it's not a surprise when I call them and tell them what we found. So, got to have a good inspection process that's on every unit every time. Management's got to follow it. It's got to be a routine for everybody. And by the way, on this inspection, there's electronic versions of it as well on some of the DMS systems. But if you don't have that, have a manual sheet. Lack of maintenance menus, got to have a menu. We talked about this already out there. The menu should be based on intervals. So either it's a time interval, maybe it's an hour interval, and or it's a mileage interval. You need a separate menu for pop-ups versus towables, and a separate menu for towables versus coaches. You need to have a menu for each one of those items. Menus are a pain in the butt to build. I've built a zillion of them. And I've talked to people every day who have intentions. Yeah, I'm working on one. Well, how long have you been working on it? It's been a long time. And I tell you, I feel for them. Because I'm telling you, to build a good menu with prices, shop supplies, taxes, all that stuff, it takes a lot of time. But it's worth it. You've got to make the commitment to do it. And then they've got to do it with every customer every time. Lack of technician knowledge. of all these items up here, that is probably, fortunately, the least impactful of all of these, because in most shops, there's somebody in there that has the knowledge. With that being said, inevitably, there's not many techs to hire nowadays, so more and more of us are hiring people with no experience, right? And we're having to get them trained up to speed. The good news is there's training out there, either through the manufacturers, through some of the, the vendors, and of course in your own shop with some of your lead techs. So do any of the above apply to your dealership? If they do, let's do something about it.